That music feels more European rave than it does Australian kind of land down underish. So,
No, well, we try.
waiting for Colin Hay to get back from us from Men at Work so that we can use the the song from what was it, the Land Down Under or whatever it was.
Land Down Under, yeah, I forget now. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
as long as you don't use YCMA, I'm okay.
YMCA. Well, we can. Didn't they have another one like the what was the male version of the YMCA or the YWMCA? I don't remember. Anyway,
I don't remember.
Complete tangent. We're going to head off today to Australia again, this time instead of just Flemington and what we did last week? Flemington and Randwick.
We did Caulfield and Flemington.
So this time around, we're going to do just Flemington, 5 stakes races, the first of which starts at least from our card that we're doing, at 9:10 Eastern. But before we get cracking on the races, let's take a look. I like this view of the racetrack a little bit better than some of the other ones we got. Last week, I forgot to do this. But here you can see the aerial view, probably the Google map or some map of the racetrack and how it lays out. So that's a pretty interesting shape, kind of like a avocado, right? It even looks like an avocado with the inner track.
Yeah, oh yeah. And we don't run the straightaway 6 furlong races in this country, but common in Australia, common in England. But this one's a little flatter than some of the ones in England, which can undulate pretty dramatically and really make a difference on the horse whether they're going uphill like a Kentucky Downs at the finish. It's very different type of racing and stamina, and I think some horses really love it, and there are some that they ship over here because they don't
like it at all. Yeah. So the first race is race number 2. This one is a 1,600 meters. So if we go back to here, the 1,600 meter race is going to start right about here, right?
That's the 1 mile.
And then it's going to come around. So they turn almost the entire time.
Big sweeping turn. Reminds me a lot of Belmont.
But it's like one big long turn almost the entirety of the race. So that's a pretty interesting thing. So looking at this race, Tom, this is the Matron Stakes. Pull up the horses here so we can see what we got. All right, Thomas, who do you like and why?
I took number 4. Flying Mascot is my top choice. So it has 12 starts and 5 wins and 3 seconds and a third. I've won at this distance before. It was a Group 3 winner last time out, and it got winning run is the best way to describe it. A really strong kick in the stretch, and when it kicked, it was more like it got into gear at the top of the stretch, but just kept going. And I always like to see that in a horse when that momentum doesn't stop, and they don't get caught by what's closing on them. And so I think she's going to sit behind the leaders and make her move at about maybe the 800 meter mark. So be out a little before that turn, finish that turn out, and she should be right there at the end.
And just to note, this is good for today. We're not dealing with swamp racing like we did last week.
No.
This is good for.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. And it reflected in that sprint race where Nato Strip got beat by Eduardo, who did the front running, and that was that 4-horse field. 7, Promise of Success is my next choice.
Scratched. So that one's.
Oh, it is scratched. Okay, I'm sorry, I missed that one.
That's all right.
Let's hope the other one is not. Oh no, 5 is good. 5, Invitskio is my final choice. 31 starts, has 7 wins, 3 seconds, and 2/3. Really an excellent record at this distance. 6 starts and 4 wins. Just hasn't gotten good runs. I mean, completely. And that really what's been the issue for this horse is not the running the way that horse runs, but the starts. And so had some troubles at the start. But this is a class rise for the horse, but I'm not looking for win. I'm looking for a placing. And I think that record at this distance jumps out at me. And that's why I'm putting it in there.
I see. So for me, I am agreeing with you right off the get-go. But as I look at this race, Thomas, as I pace it out, I see that there's really not a lot of early speed in here. In fact, most of the horses either don't perform very well at all or come from the back of the pack. I feel like the 4-horse, as you mentioned, is going to sit right off of that pace, the Flying Mascot, and then close out the race as they come to the end. Number 5, probably sitting right behind the number 4. So I think those two will come 1-2, probably chase down the 1-horse Taroth at the end, which is my 4th choice. And then in between those, I like number 9, Groovy Kind of Love. This horse is one that should be of the closers. I think this one is the top closer in the field. And when you look at its good record, 10 times, 2 wins, 4 seconds, 2 thirds. And on at the distance, the horse has run 7 times and finished in the money in 6 of those 7. So I'm going to go 4, 5, 9, and 1 in race number 2, which is again the Matron Stakes. Race number 3, or excuse me, not race number 3. We're going to go race number 5. This one is the Kewney Stakes.
I went with Kenway, but I don't know.
Well, the W is in front of the end, so I'm going to go Kewney Stakes. And this one is, again, 1 mile, going back to our map again, 1 mile starting here, making that big run around the avocado, and then coming home at the top of the avocado. So how do you like them in race number 5, the Kewney Stakes, Thomas?
Wow, I took number 1, Yearning, as my top choice. And 9 starts, 2 wins, 2 seconds, and a third. Has won and placed at this distance. First up, it ran 3rd in a Group 2, ran mid-pack, and the comment it said in there I found was it made up ground. And that's always positive to see coming into a second start. I really think a better effort and better form will be reflected in this horse today. And the distance to me is the perfect distance for this horse to be running right now. My next horse is scratched, so I can't play that one.
You can't play the scratch ones, Thomas. That's
but I can play
number 8. Pretty amazing.
Yeah,
that horse was my top pick. So guess what? It's
not
anymore.
Yeah, I pulled 2 more out. I put number 11. So you can see, has 1 start and 1 win. It was impressive in its win because it came from mid-pack and just blew by the field and won by over 4 lengths. So basically the comment was when she was asked to go, she went. And I think that's apt. So I think big improvement. You're going to see this horse. Yeah, it's aggressive to place it in a group race, but I'm looking for a price. Why not? 4, Argentina. My final selection. 4 starts, 2 wins, and a second. Has never run this distance, which is maybe a concern. I can't really do it much on the breeding side of the world, so I couldn't really give an idea on that. But the last 2 races, it ran first up in a Group 3. I always like to see that. And the last race, it was second in a Group 2, and it lost to a Lavish Girl who's running in this race, and really ran a strong race, but really couldn't get to the leader. And I think just need a little more distance. And I think Lavish Girl, I think she may want a little shorter. I think this one wants a little longer.
So Satish Evans asks us, Tom, how are we both doing today? I'm doing pretty good today. I'm feeling really good about this day. How about you, Tom?
I'm doing good. I'm going to do a lot better once I get the scratches all straightened out in Gulfstream and Tampa.
Well, it's going to be a little wet down there, but it'll be all right. It'll be fun for tomorrow. If you haven't had a chance to do it yet, last night we had on championship handicapper of the world, David Harrison. If you head on over to Horse Racing Radar TV, in fact, the YouTube channel we're on right now, you can head on over there and you will see the replay of that where we actually talk about the real big races tomorrow. And David putting his handicapping skills to work. And one of the races we didn't cover, he mentioned that he gave us a stone cold 10-1 morning line shot. So, and that was in race number 8, I think it was.
Yeah, number 1. Yeah.
I can't remember the name right now. But again, if you head on over to our YouTube channel, you'll see right there, special guest David Harrison, and he gives us some interesting tips if you're going to play contests. So like Terry and I do. So hopefully, Terry, you're doing well in your contest today. We'll try to qualify for that national tournament this afternoon.
And sit at his table.
Number 16 at that matter. So speaking of numbers, number 11 hat. Tom, how you like that number 11 hat?
It's perfect.
Yeah, it looks nice.
Do you have any number 11s picked for your contest today?
I don't think there's any horses that made it to the 11. So, but if you like the hat,
okay,
you can head on over to horseracingtoday.net, click on the HRT gear, and you can see we got some great stuff. Tom, you just got yours in a couple days ago. Wore it last night.
Yeah.
What's your feeling?
I left it in my other room.
You forgot it today?
Oh, well, well, I had the 6, and I actually had the 6 in the next race, so that'll be interesting.
Perfect. But I like it. Did you like it the way it looks and everything?
Yeah. Oh, great.
I like the way it looks too. All right. Anyway, on to the next race. That's what we're here to talk about. This is race number 6. This is I know we can pronounce this one correctly, Thomas. This one is the Newmarket Handicap. 1,200 meters. I'm used to furlongs here. 1,200 is going to start all the way here. So this one looks like it's going to be a straight dash, Tom.
Straight 6 furlong. For the top end of the New Zealand horse is what am I going to be my top choice, but these are some good fast horses.
And you don't have to worry about any scratches in here.
Nope, they're all in. So I did.
You know what, Tom? Hold on one second. I got to go back a race. I didn't give my picks out, so I'll do it real quick. I went straight to the other thing.
Oh, you didn't? Yeah, that may be helpful for somebody. Because they're probably better than mine.
I don't know about that. But again, I don't see a whole lot of speed in this race. Again, in fact, there's no speed in this race. There's one horse that's going to probably get to the lead. I'll get to her in a minute. But my top pick is number 3, Barb Raider. So a horse that should do well. It's run well on a good course, 4 times, 2 wins and a third. At the distance, it's run twice, has a win and a second. Ran at the track, so likes the track, likes the surface, likes the conditions. It should be one that's really coming pretty hard at the end. I think of all of the closers,
and has done well at the distance too. So,
And then number 9 is my second choice, Artica. Number 9, this one is a nice 6-1 odds right now. Again, this is a horse that's run fantastically well on a good surface. The horse has only run twice so far. Undefeated, ran 4 weeks ago, in good shape. So I'm expecting, I know it's stepping up in class here a little bit, but I think this horse will probably be forwardly placed and have a shot to maybe take them, maybe not on the lead, because I think unquestionably on the lead is going to be number 2, Lavish Girl. And Lavish Girl has done pretty well on a good track, 6 races, 2 wins. But at the track 2 times out with the W, it's just to me a pace play with Lavish Girl because she's so much the only one really in here that shows any degree of early speed. So can run some pretty comfortable fractions. And if she can get away with some easy fractions, Lavish Girl might be able to take them from gate to wire. So that doesn't really happen that often over there.
No, it doesn't. And I think the distance, never run at this distance puts a big question mark on the horse.
That's why I ranked her 3rd, but it was 4th originally because the other one was my top choice. So back to the Newmarket Handicap, Tom.
We'll try again.
Yes, indeed. Again, we'll go, but this one's 6 furlongs. So they're going to start here. They're going to run all the way down there, just straight drag racing, horse racing style in Australia. There are no scratches here, but guess what? You got 17 horses to pick from, so you better be a damn good handicapper. Yeah,
you're going to have to get your thinking cap on, and hopefully it's working well. That's a good pun, or so to speak. Number 6, Levante is my top choice of New Zealand, and coming over from New Zealand with a really great record. Has 15 starts, 10 wins, 2 seconds, and a third. At this distance, he has, I should say, 4 starts, 2 wins, a second, and a third. He started out winning listed race this season and then ran in some series of Group 1 races in New Zealand and has done very, very well. A mid-pack runner who's really is a fast finisher. And if his New Zealand form holds up against this bunch and time-wise it looks like it should, it's going to be right there at the end. And I would not be heavily surprised if this wasn't one of the favorites.
Well, right now it's 23 to 1 odds. So if you're getting some good price on that, and the horse loves the good track, 12 times across a good course, 8 wins. So that's a pretty nice number there.
I mean, the issue here is that what company it's facing in New Zealand, and it looks like it's been pretty good company. So, and based on some of the times there, and running at the top tracks, of course, because it's running Group 1s, it looks like a pretty good horse in my mind. And if you get those odds, I'd be really thrilled. 2, Home Affairs, my second choice. 8 starts, has 4 wins, 1 a second, 1 third. At Flemington, it's 2 for 2, and it has 4 starts at this distance and only won once.
But it's 2 for 2 at the track, so that's something.
Yeah. Well, it's really its best race, I think, was won by a head bob against Nature Strip, who lost last weekend. But it was a tough race. And that horse ran an excellent race, and they gave it some time off, and I think that probably going to help it a little. If he runs his last race, he hits the board. I don't know if he's good enough to beat my top choice, but we'll see. This one could be the favorite, especially off that last. It's one of those some of the races that it's run. It's really and it's 2 for 2 at Flemington. 13, Snap Dancer is my final choice. 16 starts, 5 wins, 4 seconds, and 2 thirds. It was a Group 3 winner last time out, and in the front, and really held very strong. If it runs that same type of race, I think it can hold on for a piece of the pie. And I definitely think this horse is going to affect the outcome of this race.
Well, I'm going to start again looking at the pace scenario here. It's pretty fat in the back end for a sprint. Most of the horses want to come off the pace. One horse that won't be coming off the pace for sure is number 2, Home Affairs. I have that listed as a horse that has the most early pace in this field. I know, Tommy, had said it, not really great at the distance, 4 times out, 1 win. But when it's run on a good track, it's run 4 times with 3 wins and a third. At the track itself, 2 for 2. So I expect you're going to see Home Affairs at the front, make everybody come and get them. Number 13, so we're thinking a lot alike in this race, Tom. Number 13, Snap Dancer, is a horse that should be right off the pace, but has a little bit of late kick in there. This is one that has done really well at the distance, ran 6 times, 4 wins, a second and a third, and in the money in 8 out of 13 on a good track. So I'm expecting the 2 to take the lead, the 13 and the 17 to probably track behind him, with the 17 kind of fading a little bit at the end. And then we're going to have the 2 closers, or those that sit right in that next group of horses. Number 5 is my third choice, and that is Count de Rupe at $22 to 22 to 1 right now, it looks like. Another that likes the distance, 6 times out, 4 wins. Really likes the good track, 9 times across a good track, finishing in the money 8 out of those races. So I expect that you're going to see this one with the most late kick in Count de Rupe. And then finally, number 10 will be sitting right off the pace, probably in that second group behind the front runners, Quantico, and then look to make its move as they come around the stretch. You can't argue with this horse's good record, 8 times across a firm, good track. They don't have firm over there ever. 6 wins, and then when you look at the distance, has been an all or nothing horse. He's run 7 times and won 4 of them. So if he's engaged early, like I said, probably 4th or 5th, I would expect to see him add to that distance record.
Yeah, and keep in mind, of course, this is a straightaway, so it's not going to be a coming off of. They're going to be flying down that stretch. All the
Says
way.
he also won one of the Melbourne Cup Carnival races last year, so that's got to be a good thing.
Well, and this is a Group 1 we did, which we didn't mention. So these are some of the better sprinters out there. A number of them have not participated in Group 1 races before, so that'll be the interesting piece here to see who can break through.
So we have Ed Delaveri saying race 2 today at Gulfstream Park in the United States. He's pretty confident about Smiling Truffles with Prado on board, and race 5 should see Noble win. And then Timothy Murray says running tomorrow at Gulfstream race 5 and number 1. If you want to know who Terry's best bet is today, you're going to head on over to horseracingtoday.net. Terry has a Turf Paradise today for race number 8. Likes the 4, the 1, and the 5. So you got Ed's picks, you got Tim's picks, and of course, every single day at horseracingtoday.net, the mothership, you will get Terry's best bet. He's like the postman. Nor rain, nor sleet, nor snow, nor earthquake. Nothing will stop Terry from putting his best bet of the day up. Race number 7, Tom. This one, is this the biggest one on the card, the Australian Cup?
Yeah.
This one is 2,000 meters. And let's look where the 2,000 meters is going to start right here. Going to go all the way around the avocado, almost back to where it started. This looks like a pretty long race with a big sweeping turn and a couple long straightaways. I would imagine that positioning is probably going to be key in this one, Tom.
I would think so. And these are definitely distance specialists. And that's why I took number 3, Spanish Mission, as my top choice. 21 starts, 6 wins, 4 seconds, and 5 thirds. 1 for 1 at this distance. It will be a second race off the layoff, and it has won twice coming off layoffs. It has 5 starts. I didn't play it last time out when it ran 3rd, but I thought the race was too short for it. It was a 1,600 meter race. Now we're coming to a distance I think is much more suited for this horse. And I partially base that on the horses that it faced at Royal Ascot, where it ran 3rd. It lost to Subjective Disc, probably one of the top distance horses in Europe. Princess Zoe, who ran the other day in Down Under, and beat Stradivarius. So this horse has fit a U.S. bred, has run good distances before, and that's why I sort of discounted it in that mile race, and I thought that was a much more impressive race as it turned out, and I was wrong, and that's why I'm going to pick it here. It's a mid-pack type horse. It'll move late, and I just think the last race wasn't long enough.
Yep, I think he'll be mid-pack too.
Number 8, Call Sign Mav, is my next choice. 21 starts, 7 wins, 7 seconds, and 2 thirds. 2 starts at this distance, hasn't won yet. The good second last time out in the Group 3, but it had some trouble. And basically it had to steady and got boxed. So there was plenty of run in this horse, it appears, from the replay I watched, but it just didn't have clear running until late. And I think that's, getting him for second, I thought it did a really good job. He should be he could be making some of the running in this race, so they could put him on front, or they put him behind too, to sit behind the leaders. Hopefully he won't get in trouble and be able to pick up a piece here.
I think he'll be the pace setter.
Yeah, not sure, because they've run him different styles, so I'm not 100% sure what the instructions
are going to be. Yeah,
it
doesn't look like there's a whole lot of other pace in here. So maybe by default he might be on the front, even though he's not trying to be on the front.
It very well could be
a restrained, a good hold on the horse on the lead, maybe.
Well, number 7, Yonkers, is my final choice. It has 35 starts, 9 wins, 7 seconds, 5 thirds. 10 starts at this distance with 3 wins, 2 seconds, and a third. This is the second start of the season. It finished, it has 2 starts this season, I should say. It has a 5th and a 2nd, and lost to really the number 1 horse in this race, which is, I forgot now, but the top weighted horse.
The favorite.
Yeah. He's the old guy in this bunch. And he just likes to hit the board, and I don't see him out of the money in this race. I really think that he can put up a good effort, and he seems to want to do that every time. And the race I watched, he was trying, and that's all you can ask.
Well, at 26-1, one thing about Thomas's picks is when they come in, you're going to get paid, because Tom likes to play some prices. I'm going to start out with, again, I said there's really not a lot of pace in this race at all. So I do think that the horses up front will be able to dictate the tempo. And if they don't go too fast, they might do all right. And one of those horses that should sit right behind that pace is number 9, Delphi. And this is 22-1 morning line, Thomas. It does have what I would call the ability to press the lead and then pass the lead. That's why I'm picking. It's the only horse in the field like that. It's run on a good track 9 times, has 4 wins. I like that. It's run at this distance twice, has a second and a win on top of that. Run at the track so far, hasn't done so well. Ran a group once, twice, hasn't run so well. But I feel like the distance does work for him. The track surface does work for him. And the pace setup does work for number 9, Delphi. Number 2, the favorite, Think It Over, is my second choice. This is going to be the horse that probably is the patient ride, 3rd, 4th, 5th, somewhere in there as they come around the corner and then try to make its move late. On a good track, the horse has run 18 times, got 7 wins, 4 seconds, 3/3. So he likes the good at the distance. He's won 50% of those races, 10 out of 5. And the Group 1 level, 5 times out, but he does got to win. So you have to like that. So he's proven he can win at this level. Don't like the odds, though, at 3-1, but hell, 3-1 in the U.S. is a pretty good morning line favorite. I take those all day.
That's not a bad number in my mind either.
I agree with you on number 3, Spanish Mission. I feel like of the closers, and there's a bunch of closers in here, Spanish Mission and number 12, Duais, maybe. I don't know how to pronounce that, but we'll go with Duais. Seems like that's about right to me. Spanish Mission and Duais, one of those two will be charging hard late and make some noise and maybe clip them all at the wire if they go a little too fast. But I don't think they're going to go too fast, to be honest with you, Tom. Last race of the day, race number 8, at least for us, not the last race of the day, but it's the Shaftesbury Avenue Stakes. This one is 1,400 meters. So it's going to start right on the turn, come around the back end of the avocado, all the way to the red W there. Do you think starting on that turn is going to like hamper some of the folks that get poor like outside post positions?
I don't think it'll help many. The draw is one of the comments that I read was the draw is important here.
I would think when you look where that starts,
yeah,
and it starts like right. Oh no, it starts back here in this little chute. I see. Never mind.
Yeah, it's in a chute and then it comes around.
Yeah, and then they turn right away anyway. Yeah. So I would still want to be inside position if I can be on that. Right, you're going to save a lot of ground.
Yeah, you're gonna have to make up space, but we'll see. I mean, it's a nice big field again, and I took number 6, Milton, as my top choice.
And he's going to break from the post number 4.
Yeah,
so like inside draw, you got to like
I
that.
thought the draw was good. Yeah, 17 starts, has 7 wins, 1 second, and 1/3. At this distance, 7 starts, it has 5 wins. It won last 2. It's won his last 2 races. One was an enlisted company race, and then moved up. But he's moving up in this race. But he's a 7 furlong specialist, 1,400 meter.
It doesn't make you wonder why he's 41-1 though, considering all that good news right there.
Yeah, I did wonder, but it's a tough field. And but I thought the draw was good, and the fact that this horse really likes this distance. And actually my first 2 choices are partially because of the distance.
It's a quirky distance and a quirky thing we saw in the chart there.
It's not far enough for the for the sprint. It may be too far for the sprinters, and it may not be too short for a miler. And that's why I always like to see a horse that likes this distance and has done well at it. And 5 wins out of 7 starts. I think that's doing pretty good.
That's the definition.
The other thing I liked was the fact that it's dropping back in distance from its last race. And that always, to me, makes it a much more, I think, more competitive because they were using that race as a setup for this.
Tune-up.
Certainly, it's a Group 3, but it's still an important race. My prediction will be to sit 5th or 6th and move up for the win.
I think 3rd or 4th. We'll see.
Number 14, Moravata is my next choice. 55 starts, 8 wins, 12 seconds, 7/3. It's been at this distance 23 times. Has 6 wins, 7 starts, 7 seconds, and 3/3. Like my top pick, it is a 7 furlong specialist. It does like this. And I think it'll be You're very close to lever, right on there. And my prediction was there were about 5 horses that have some decent speed in here.
Agreed.
And so they may just want to sit this horse right behind it. Well, he's definitely got the experience at this distance, and has proven that he can win. But I'm not looking for him to win. I like those 7 seconds and 3/3. So placing is my choice here. Number 7, Rich Hips, is my final choice.
Got to play the horse's name, Rich.
Yeah, well, I didn't do it for that reason, but it's 24 starts, 7 wins, a second and 2/3. At this distance, it's 13 starts, has 5 wins and 1/3. Where my top 2 selections appear to be more speed, this one does not have speed. This one will definitely be closing. And there are some concerns, though. One, first race of the season, it finished 7th out of 7th. It did come back lame. But so there's a little concern there, with the fitness level of this horse. But I don't think they're going to put him in here if they're, because it's going to they got vet checked out of the race. It got vet checked coming into these races, and they're not going to run him on sound.
Mm-hmm.
The form may not be there. That's why I'm not picking him to win, but he certainly can be competitive. And if he's sound, I think he's got a good chance to pick up something here.
Yeah, to say here, the concern, though, is he's the farthest one on that outside barrier, so hopefully he can overcome it.
And that's why I'm thinking closing for a piece, not getting up for anything beyond that.
Of all the races we did today, this one has the most early pace, unquestionably. You got probably about half the horses that want to be in the front and about the other half that want to be in the middle or the back. So fractions are going to be everything in this particular race. But I think the one horse that can probably handle no matter which way the pace goes is number 3, Kiss on All 4 Cheeks. That's an interesting name for a horse. But anyway, I think this horse will be mid-pack, does have some late run. And Tom, you talk about specialists, horse that like the distance. This horse clearly likes the distance. Ran it 5 times. 1-3 of them has a second mixed into there. At this Group 1 level, it's run twice, has 2/3. So it can handle the competition. On a good track, finishing in the money 12 out of 14. The only question for me is the horse has never really run on this grass before, so you don't know what it's going to do at Flemington. But I feel like, again, when you look at the horse, where it's positioned relative to how the race is likely to play out, seems like the likely pace scenario should set up nicely. I like number 6 horse as well with you, Milton Park. I can't understand why it's 41-1. The horse should be forwardly placed. I think that's the case. But, man, when you look at that distance record, 7 times, 5 wins. How do you – ran off the board the other 2, so it's either going to win or run off the board. Same thing at the track. 4 times at the track, 2 wins in 4 races, nothing else. It's run at 17 times, and it's won 7 of them, 5 of them in 13 starts on a good track. So even if it clearly likes the good track, because when you look at the heavy and the wet, it doesn't really run very well on there. And it's run 1 time at this track and actually won. So I like that, the track and the distance. And then number 9 is my 3rd choice. That is Shalout. So a horse that should be in the back. And of all the closers, this is one that I think will be the strongest comer late. Ran at the distance 4 times, won 3 of them. And guess what? They were all at Flemington. So the horse definitely likes the track. He's an all or nothing horse too, so it's going to be pace dependent. If it gets a nice swift pace up front, horse should be closing hard at the end. And he's won 4 of 10 on a good surface. And finally, that number 14 horse that you picked, Morvada, I also like that horse. It's going to be one that should be forwardly placed as well. So I think you're going to see a horse that does well at the distance, does well at the track and distance, does well on a good surface. I don't think it's going to win, but I do think it has a good chance to fatten up the exacta, the trifecta. And do they do superfectas there, Tom?
Well, it depends on your bookie.
So if you do the Twin Spires or TVG or Keeneland, not the real bookies, like the one we just saw in Rolling Meadows get busted here in Illinois.
Yeah,
did you see that article?
That's a little different. Yeah. No, the like Tab or one of those down under or 365. it depends on what offerings they have available to you. Of course, we have the pick four. They have what they call the quaddy down there. So you pick, and so there are a lot more different options available there than there are here. I know that there are you can pick, as an example, play their Quinella is picking the place horses in multiple races. So that to me would be next to impossible. Much harder than trying to pick the winners at times, I think, trying to pick who will finish second.
So if you're going to play Australia tonight, just to give you a sense of what time, we started with race number 2. That race will begin at 9:10 p.m. Eastern. And then the last race we talked about, race number 8, it will begin at 1 a.m. Eastern. So for most of the country outside of the East Coast, you won't have to stay up too late to play them all. Any final words of wisdom in terms of playing Australia, Tom?
Good luck. This is a tough card. And there are some other races that we didn't cover on here that are also group level horses. And if you want to drive yourself crazy, there's a 2-year-old race in here. This is a very good card. And being the autumn down there, you're getting to see a lot of horses in peak form right now. And even with 1 or 2 starts, they're still coming around, and there's some running for some big money.
And if you plan on playing them, I recap everything Tom and I do over at horseracingtoday.net. That'll be up in about an hour and a half or so. And I will also include in there a link to some free past performances, so you can do races 1 through 9, not just 2, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Although I would suspect that the excellent wisdom that you've gotten today, you don't need the program for races 2, 5, 6, 7, and 8.
Well, we certainly picked some prices in here.
Last week, I think we had a kind of interesting week in Australia. There was 5 races. I think we had the exacta in 3 of them and a trifecta maybe in 3 of them. 2 of them for sure, and then just totally missed the board on the other 2. So I'll take a 60% collect rate.
My bankroll appreciates it a lot.
Indeed. So if you like what you saw today, thank you. Please do like Kuzema Tenwaka and give us a thumbs up on Facebook. And same thing here on YouTube. Give us a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't done that already. We do all sorts of stuff. Like I mentioned last night, we talked with the reigning defending champion of handicapping, David Harrison. You can check that out. Great interview. Every Monday through Wednesday, Sean and we talk with a guest, a jockey, a trainer, an agent, something along those lines, who gives us a lot of insight to how they view racing. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, Terry and I at 12 o'clock Eastern, we pick a track of the day, run through the entire card, give us some best bets. We do a box it up where we exact a trifecta and superfecta, and then a couple of pick 4s. Friday is 4 and Fridays with Tom and I. And then tomorrow, Terry and I will be back. Not quite sure on the time. Haven't nailed that down yet. That's why you want to subscribe on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter at Horse Race Today, because our behind-the-scenes do-it-all, Swiss Army Sean, will notify you when we're about to go live. And then Terry and I will be cleaning up some handicapping for some of the big stakes races that we did not cover with Mr. Harrison.
And there's a doozy running at Oaklawn with She Dares the Devil and CC. So, and that's the prep for the Apple Blossom. So that should be the Azeri, which is the race there in Oaklawn. So that'll be an interesting one to take a look at and see who you can pick the winner out of that one. And
we'll definitely, that's one we're going to cover. We're going to cover that one. There's one at Santa Anita, and I think there's 2 at Gulfstream. So those are the ones that we're going to do. So Terry, I'll get that information off to you just momentarily after I'm done getting ready for the big show that we're going to be involved in a little bit later on. All right, that's it for today, Thomas. We hope that every single one of your picks at Australia, at Oaklawn Park, in the contest today, Terry, Rich, end up, Tom, where do we want them to end up?
Well, I hope the winner's circle, because second ain't going to win you that handicapping trip.
I ain't going to do nothing for you.
Yeah.
All right, folks, have a fantastic Friday, a fantastic Friday night at Australia. And until we meet again, have a great, great weekend.
Bye.